Right. Hey guys, give me a second. Oh, hang on. Let me try to get my mug in the thing here. Hang on. I'm gonna make sure that I'm live. Oh, here I am. Awesome, awesome. All right, just making sure everything's showing up. And let me move this over here. I just wanted to once again thank you for showing up for these 5 minute-ish Fridays. They truly, truly, truly mean the world to me. I've been getting a lot of great feedback on them. And hang on a sec. I'm trying to bring everything up so that way I can see. I've been getting a lot of great feedback on these. So it truly means a lot to me that you guys are here. And today I was going to talk about deed in lieu versus foreclosure. What note investors, really real estate investors, need to know, just not note investors. I am not a financial planner or CPA. This video is for educational purposes only. This is not investment, tax, or legal advice. Please consult with a qualified professional for advice. Please take anything that I give you or anybody else gives you and just vet it and speak to your financial planner, your attorney, to make sure it works for you. This is just what I'm doing in my business. So hopefully what I'm talking about will actually help you within your business. So let me hang on a second. So with that, let's go ahead and get into this. So why the deed in lieu versus foreclosure? So why does this matter? Well, when borrowers can't pay, you need an exit strategy. Oftentimes when you're buying these mortgage notes, you either have like performing, non-performing, or reperforming. Performing, they do go non-performing, which ultimately, if they get so far behind, you will have to either, speak with the borrower about doing a deed in lieu or foreclose in order to take that property back. So one way or the other. And then like non-performing, if you buy these non-performing notes, I mentioned in earlier videos, a lot of investors buy these non-performing notes with the intention of getting the property back. And there's nothing wrong with it if that's your exit strategy. My strategy is to get them reperforming. But in any event, if your exit strategy is to take that real estate back, then you will either have to foreclose or you'll have to do a deed in lieu. So you'll need an exit strategy, right? So there's two main paths: deed in lieu or foreclosure, or really you can actually, there's really like a third. If it was performing, it goes non-performing, and you're forced to do a foreclosure, or you're in the talks of deed in lieu. They may come into a windfall of money that they could catch things up. It's entirely up to you, the lender. And it can actually reperform. I mean, I've had this happen to me where they were months, a lot, like 8 months behind, and then they've got a little bit of windfall money. They had some help, a family member helped them, and they brought it current. So I was in the process of starting the foreclosure, and they paid for the cost of that and brought everything current. So right now it's performing. So, like I was saying, you have two main paths: deed in lieu or foreclosure. The goal is to recover the investment, minimize your loss. So let's just talk about what a deed in lieu of is, or it's known as cash for keys. The borrower voluntarily deeds the property back to you, the lender. It avoids the court process, often faster and less costly than foreclosure. Oftentimes, like a foreclosure may, cost you $5,000. You could do a cash for keys or a deed in lieu for $2,500, depending on what you negotiate with the borrower. I've done them in the past where if they leave the property in pristine condition, then I give them a little bit more, right? A little bit of a bump than what I initially was going to give them. And then, with this deed in lieu, like I said, you can get this property back faster, and it avoids foreclosure costs. Benefits of deed in lieu: it saves time and legal costs, less impact on the borrower's credit versus foreclosure. If they do a deed in lieu, it won't impact their credit. If you do a foreclosure, it will impact their credit, their credit report, I should say. The lender gains control of the property faster and it reduces the hostility and resistance. I mean, I've just had foreclosures that I've done in the past where the borrowers just dug their heel in, and it was a nightmare to get that property back. Drawbacks of deed in lieu: title issues, other liens may actually remain. That's why I always, if you do a deed in lieu, just work with order a title report, and then also you have don't do a BPO. I would actually do well, I guess you could do a BPO on it, but you can just pay for an appraisal. That way they can have somebody go out and realize what the property is worth. But just always order a title report on it. And then the other thing is the borrower may not cooperate fully with it, and the property condition, a risk, the damage and or neglect. You actually get this with foreclosures too. And that's the benefit with the deed in lieu. If you're more in contact with them, they're more amicable to where they're willing to work with you. And then, like I was saying before, if you can give them a little bit more if they leave the property in like a broom swept condition. And it still requires negotiation and paperwork. So what is foreclosure? It's the legal process to take the property back after default. You have two different, you have states where you have judicial and non-judicial. Judicial is it's court supervised, and the non-judicial is it's a third party, a trustee, and it's managed. The judicial, it's usually more expensive than what the non-judicial states are. But bottom line is it ends with an auction or a REO. REO stands for real estate owned or bank owned property. So here's a map of the judicial versus non-judicial. The one in blues, you can see that they're judicial, and the one in grays are non. I like to buy a mix of both judicial and non-judicial notes that I typically buy, just so that way I have a mix across the United States. Benefits of foreclosure: clears out junior liens in most cases, provides legal finality, and it may allow a deficient judgment depending on state law. So you need to check with that. Actually, you should hire a foreclosure attorney if you are going down that route. Let the pros do what they do best, and they represent you to wind up getting that asset back. Drawbacks of foreclosure: very time consuming, months to years. Texas, it's pretty fast. It's pretty fast foreclosure. But here in Ohio, it usually takes 12 to 18 months, and then this isn't even including if they file bankruptcy. I love it when, I don't like to see anybody file bankruptcy, but if the borrower does file bankruptcy, that's a plus because it's either going to be a Chapter 7 total liquidation, I'll be made whole, or a Chapter 13 where they'll be set up on a payment plan and I'll get my payments on that asset. So it is time consuming, so just keep that in the back of your mind. The expenses, it is expensive doing a foreclosure. The legal and the court costs can add up. It's a public process, borrower stigma, and possibly damage to the property. But if that's the case, then you can sue them for that. That's why you have forced place insurance on it. You should have forced place insurance on it. Once you determine that there's no longer insurance on that property, right? So you should always have insurance on that property. So when do you choose which? Deed in lieu: borrower is very cooperative, title is clean, both sides want speed. Foreclosure: borrower is uncooperative, property has other liens, and you need legal finality on it. You just want to move on, and get that asset moving. So rule of thumb: try deed in lieu first, foreclosure if not viable. So here's some key takeaways. Both are tools to protect your investment. Deed in lieu is fast, cheap, but not always possible. Foreclosure, it's a slower process. It's more money, but it actually clears the title, so that way you can make sure that when you do get that property back, the title is clean. And always weigh time, cost of cooperation, and property condition. So that's all I got for the 5-minute-ish Fridays. I am looking to see if there are any. If you have any questions, go ahead and just drop them in the chat. Please feel free to send an email with your questions, Larry at ljhinvestments.com, or you can call me 513-301-1468, or schedule a 30-minute call with, here, let me do this. Schedule a 30-minute call with talkwithlarryhoffman.com right there, talkwithlarryhoffman.com. If you have any questions regarding foreclosure, deed in lieu, notes, real estate, multi-unit families, rehabbing properties, please feel free to ask. I've done them all, and then also if you're looking to put your lazy assets to work, earning above average returns, schedule that call. Talk with LarryHoffman.com. I'll be able to help you out. And I do not see any questions. With that, you guys have a great day and an even better week.